Hello, 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 hello. Oh, hi, Karen. Nice to see you. Hi, beautiful beings. Welcome to this space. I say Dr. Alyssa, but you can call her Dr. Alyssa Herrera-Set, Dr. Herrera-Set, or Alyssa. She's setting up in the corner over there, and we're going to get started. There's quite a few signups, so we're giving people time. This is also that weird time, when hopefully you're taking a break because you've set healthy boundaries at your work-home life, and you're breaking from your work and you're going to transition into this. So we're going to give people just a couple of minutes just to get set in. We've got a lot of people joining us today. And then we'll do some introductions and then we'll get going.
I know
While we
Karin.
are
I've taken
waiting,
her classes before.
do I? Oh,
I
you know
know
Karin
Karin.
too?
I've taken some of her
Yeah.
classes.
Who
Hmm.
doesn't know Karin? While we're waiting here, something that we've been doing every event, which has been really exciting, is to get an idea of where everyone is joining us from. So in the chat box, if you could maybe shout out your city, state, or country, that's always very exciting to see. And say, I'm in Menlo Park. No, oh, Nottingham. There we go. See, there we go. Mill Valley, hello. Oh, Sandy, you're in Mill Valley. I love Mill Valley. Belmont, Scotland. Oh, beautiful. LA, Redwood City, lots of England. Oh, wow. Yes. So this is why I ask, is because in the 5.5 months of us launching this program, and keep in mind, we launched because we're crazy like that. There's my Canadians. We launched at the beginning of a pandemic, right? That's what you do when you start a nonprofit. So there's actually almost 2 years before that, but getting our status, we launched, we were official in December 10th of 2019. And we were actually bidding on property in February, and then everybody started getting sick. And so we have successfully kept, oh, yeah, there's more UK. We successfully kept this program going. We were always going to be online. And please, everyone that's joining, when we are in a brick and mortar location here in the SF Bay Area, we will still broadcast live because it was really important for us to make sure that we had a huge reach and that we gave people access and opportunity to take control of their wellness, whatever that looks like, to ask questions, to be really vulnerable, to come into community, to hold space for each other, to honor yourself, and really just reconnect. And so we will always be here for you online. All right, we're going to get going. So my name is Mel. It's really nice to meet everyone from all over the world. I can actually say that, and that's absolutely amazing. I'm in my office here in Menlo Park, California, aka Facebook Google Land, that don't know where it is. And we are Banyan Tree Women's Collective. We are newly formed 501c3, and we believe that it's so important to build a much longer table where everybody has a seat. Building walls just continue to further divide us, and we believe that everyone should have access and opportunity to reclaiming their health exactly the way that their journey should be. It's personal, it's individual, and you can only do that when you have access and opportunity. And that's what we aim to do here. Today, we are, oh, Johnzetta. Hey, Johnzetta. Where are you from? I'm sorry. I love this. Oh, we're still having people come in. Yes, Chi-Town. Hey, hey. Um, we are so happy to have Dr. Alyssa Herrera-Set. She is based out of Belmont, which is just my neighboring city, a little bit down the peninsula. And she is one of our go-to practitioners. She is a sensei of back, body, foot care, Pilates. We're very fortunate to have her as a practitioner within the Banyan Tree Women's Collective group. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it to her. I want you to keep in mind, you will get a thank you email. It will have her contact information in it. If you so feel inclined, or if you have the ability to donate to keep program going, please do so. If you do not have the ability to donate, that is fine. You absolutely have a place in this community. What I am going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, to tell your fellow community networks, your work people, and just spread the news. And that way you can support us too, because that matters as well. Okay, I'm going to pass it on to Alyssa. Let's get going.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here. And actually, this is, I think, my third talk with Banyan Tree Women's Collective. And every time I get more excited because I see people from more places around the world. And Mel's just pumping us up with this mission. And I get more and more excited about it every time I hear about it. So I'm excited to see also that there are so many people here that are interested in foot care. And I want you to know that there's no one magical way for everybody to take care of their feet. Like Mel said earlier, we all have our own journeys and different ways of moving and different demands of our lives. And so our bodies have gotten accustomed to the way that we've moved up to this point in our lives, and our feet have adjusted, right, to serve us in what we've done so far. But I would like to, so today was meant to be about 30 minutes of me talking about some of my favorite exercises and things that you can do with your feet. I think it's pretty cool to talk about, because when you go to, say, like an exercise class or a personal trainer, you're usually not going to spend some time buffing up your feet, right? Like we have like a glute section and an ab section and an arm section. There's not usually a foot section. So I hope to bring you guys some exercises that you haven't done before. And then, like I said, because everybody's journey is a little bit different, I want to give space and time for you guys to ask questions at the end. So there'll be time, about 15 minutes at the end. You guys can start putting questions in the chat box if you'd like, and then we'll address them at the end. The feet and how to take care of them is a little bit like it's the physical therapy equivalent of diets in the nutrition world. There's like these fads and trends and cycles, and because of that, there's no one knows what you're supposed to do. Am I supposed to wear supportive shoes? Am I supposed to be in barefoot shoes? Am I supposed to stretch my calves? Am I supposed to strengthen my calves? Do I need to go to my podiatrist and get $300 orthotics? Why are those orthotics not working? Do I need wide shoes? Should I wear narrow shoes? I can pretty much say that narrow shoes aren't a good idea. But there's so many questions, and some of them seem opposing, especially just the biggest example is, should I wear supportive shoes or should I wear barefoot? Should I go barefoot? And I'm not going to say that I have the answer to that for all of you. It's like depending on what your needs are. But I'd like to go into more detail if you have specific questions. You can ask about yourself, and hopefully, there's 60 people on here, your question is going to be pertinent to somebody else in this room. And if it's not, somebody else in this room knows somebody who your question is going to be pertinent to. You might have a really specific question about how you run 30 miles a day. Should I wear barefoot shoes? And then I'm gonna go into some detail for you, but that's gonna help somebody else too. Okay, so put your questions in the chat box when you're ready. We are going to start with a little bit of anatomy, because I'm a physical therapist and that's where I start. So I'm going to go grab my foot model for you. So here is a foot. In case you haven't thought about it in detail, there's so many bones in our feet and ankle. There's so many. And depending on what happens to you, some of these bones can get shifted inside. And sometimes you'll need some help getting those bones kind of like back into place. In addition to the bones, there's soft tissue, your muscles and your ligaments in your feet that support your foot, that support the shape of your foot. So if you were to be at say you were doing some amazing obstacle course and you were 8 feet high in the air and you had to jump down from 8 feet high. It's pretty high, right? But there was a trampoline down there at the bottom, ready for you, right? What kind of trampoline do you want? Do you want a super gushy trampoline? If you were to land on that super gushy trampoline, how might that feel in your body? Like a little bit like, whoa, like you don't know what your body is going to do when you land on that gushy trampoline from 8 feet in the air, right? It could be a little bit jarring in that your body is kind of unstable when it lands on that gushy trampoline. That gushy trampoline is what your foot is when there's no dynamic strength, when there's no muscle strength in there. Your foot is what absorbs the shock of you walking through the world. And if your foot is a gushy trampoline with no muscles or reacting to your landing, the rest of your body has to kind of take that, right? Maybe by stiffening up somewhere else to compensate for that gushy trampoline. Now, if we're back on that 8 foot high situation and you're jumping down to a trampoline and you have a super stiff trampoline, the springs are taut and tight. How's that going to feel on your body when you land on that super taut and tight trampoline? Also jarring, right? It may spring you off, but more so on the rest of your body, it's going to feel hard, right? And so when your feet don't have mobility, it's jarring to the rest of your body in another way. It's not absorbing the shock well in another way. It's not giving to the forces, right? So that's the equivalent of your foot being stiff. The spaces between the bones being stiff, or the muscles or fascia at the bottom of your foot being stiff, that's like the stiff trampoline. So today, we're gonna do some things to loosen up the trampoline and some things to strengthen up the trampoline. And no matter what kind of foot you have at this point, you will benefit from both. We're not gonna like, you'll feel what you need, yeah? And you'll stick to the strengthening ones if that's like what's challenging for you, or you'll stick to the flexibility ones if that's what you feel like you need. So let's everybody stand up. Everybody stand up and feel what your feet feel like in your body. Now, I'm going to give you a minute. This next part of it, you might want to have lotion. You don't have to have lotion, but you have lotion nearby. It can be helpful. So go ahead and walk to where your lotion is. I'm going to get my massage cream. You can have any sort of lotion. And when you come back, or as you're walking, just feel what your right foot feels like and your left foot feels like. Just get your baseline. All right, now we're gonna come back and we're gonna do some massage things to our feet. If you have lotion, go ahead and get it into your hand. If you don't have lotion, that's also okay. Let's start with the most simple thing. You're gonna work along your heel. Mel, can you see me well enough? Okay, so I am just cupping the back part of my foot around the heel, circling around the heel. It can be from the outside to the in or the inside to the out. Great. Now you're gonna take your two thumbs and rub the bottom of your foot from the heel up towards the toes. And your fingers are on the top part of your foot, providing like stability so that as you push with your thumbs, you can almost feel like those bones of your feet are pushing towards your fingers. The idea is to stretch the soft tissue, the fascia and the muscles at the bottom of your foot, but you're also kind of moving the bones around. I don't know why I thought of boba right now, but I don't know if you guys have pearl tea or boba tea where you live, but we have it here. You think about those boba balls at the bottom of your boba tea, and they're all clumped together, and then you take your straw and you mix them around. That's what we're doing. We're moving around those pearls, the boba tea. All right. I think that's a pretty Bay Area / Asian thing, but hopefully you guys can all relate. Okay, now we're gonna make that, you're gonna either continue with that or you're gonna make that a little bit more intense. You're gonna pull your toes back with one hand, and then with the other hand, you're gonna go from your heel up to your toes along the big toe side of your foot. And hopefully you guys are still on the same foot. I should have mentioned that at the end of this, we're gonna compare how one foot feels to the other. So, you know, we're gonna do the other foot if you've stuck to one foot. We're going from the heel to the big toes, to the big toe with the toes pulled back. All right, now you're gonna take your fingers and wrap them thread them through your toes. And that is going to be challenging for some of you. Some of you probably have some stiff feet. And so, you know, you can just go partway in, or when if you want to do this on your own, you can thread tissue paper through your toes so that it's like not so intense as the width of your fingers. And then with your fingers in your toes, you're going to circle your foot around. We're going to go one direction, and then we're going to go the other direction. Great. All right. Now rub your lotion in if it's a little bit in your, all over, a little bit still moist in your hands, because we're going to come to the edge of your chair. So hopefully you guys have a chair available. You're going to take your hands and put it at the edge of your chair like this. Like this. And with your knuckles being at your calves, you're going to move your ankle around like this. And once you've finished a couple pumps at one section of your calf, then you're going to move your leg. So I'm traveling all along the length of my calf using my knuckles as the massager. My hands are staying still at the edge of the chair, and my foot is pumping so that my muscle is getting massaged because of that foot pumping action. And this exercise I invented for you all because we don't know what kind of equipment you have at home. And sometimes, like, I use a foam roller usually for this, or one of those sticks. But, you know, if you guys don't have those things available, this is another way to do it. You're pressing your leg against your knuckles and using the pumping action of your foot to get your muscle to get a little bit of a massage. All right. Now go ahead and cross your leg over the other and pull your toes like in this direction, like you're stretching your foot towards a pointed position. And then we are going to stand up and feel how the foot that we worked on feels compared to the other foot. And I don't know about you, but for me, like, my foot that I worked on feels more connected with the rest of my leg. It feels alive, slightly tingly. I've gotten some good blood flow in there. And these are all great things when you have a stiff foot. Yeah. All right, let's go to the other side. We're gonna go a little bit faster on the other side because you know what we're doing now. So we're gonna start with a heel, and you're gonna cup the heel and move along the back end of the heel. You know, all these exercises I am going to put online on my Instagram. So, and I think you are going to get a link from Banyan Tree Women's Collective after. I have an Instagram link that's directly to just foot exercises, but I also have my personal one, and I'm gonna, you know, based on what we talked about today, I'm gonna alter my post for you all so that it fits what we've talked about today. So if you follow me, you can look for the summary. Okay, now massaging from your heel to the toes with your fingers at the top of your foot and your thumbs at the bottom of your foot. So I'll write in the chat room where I'm going to be summarizing it, and you'll also get a summary, but from Banyan Tree Women's Collective, but it's at On the Move Physio is my Instagram. Now you're going to pull your toes back and then go from your heel to the base of the toes, especially along the big toe side. Great. And now you're going to put your fingers in between your toes and circle your ankle around. And then circle the other way. And then you're going to point your toes, stretching your foot the direction of, like, if you're pointing your feet like a ballerina. Great. And now you're going to come to the edge of your chair with your hands and move all along the length of your calf using those knuckles. It's often that someone has tightness on the pinky toe side of their upper calf, especially if you're a barefoot athlete, a dancer, or a runner. On the pinky toe side of your foot, up close to the knee, is an often tender and tight area. All right, great. So I hope your feet feel great after that. I want you to know that I use this ball, and I don't like to sell like products or anything, but this is a pretty unique one. It's called a Franklin ball. Well, Franklin makes a lot of balls, but this one's a small one, about a little bit bigger than a tennis ball, and it's green. And there's little like divots inside them. And you can use this ball for a lot of things, but one thing I like to use it for is to roll my foot like this. And it is pretty unique in that those little divots are like suction cups, and it kind of pulls at your like tissue in a really nice way and spreads the bones of your foot in a really nice way. It's squishy. It is different than using a tennis ball. Oftentimes people will say, especially dancers, they want the hardest ball possible to kind of pound out their foot. And you can imagine with all of these little bones, pounding out that foot could mean some bone gets pushed out of place. And so it's not always like the more you feel, the better. And the thing about this squishy ball is that it like spreads everything, which is awesome. Okay, so now for strengthening. And I want to preface this with, no matter how fit you are or body aware, these might be challenging for you. And if you're not super fit, not used to exercising a ton, you might be surprised at how easy these are for you. So just be patient with selves and celebrate what's working for you and what you can do today. And then what's not easy for you today, know that it'll get easier if you practice it. All right, I'm gonna move this computer down to the ground, and I'm gonna get down to the ground. You're welcome to continue doing this in a seated position on the ground or you can be in a chair even. All right, so that you can see my feet, but unfortunately you can't see my face. I'm gonna have my feet like this. My foot is straight forward compared to my knee, and I'm gonna pick up my toes and put them down, up and down. When I pick up my foot, it's not that my toes, it's not that I'm flexing my feet. I'm just picking up the toes. Keep the ball of your feet on the ground. Let's do that. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, other foot. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I like to start with easy, right? We all want to start with success. If that was challenging for you, then know that like you can just stick to that exercise if you'd like. Next exercise is to pick up the big toes, and you can do it 1 foot at a time, and then the little toes. I call this toe swapping. Now, if this is too difficult for you to do at this time, you can pick up the toe with your finger and then see if you can hold it there. Then pick up the little toes with your fingers and then see if you can hold it there. Make sure that you're not turning yourself like this to pick up your toe. The ball of your feet is still on the ground and you're just picking up the toe like we were doing earlier. All right, let's do it. Let's go to 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and other side. Whew. You can see one of my feet is stronger than the other. And 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Is that you sweating, Karin? Okay, now next is piano toes. This is the next progression. Your toes are gonna come up. I'm gonna do 1 foot at a time. And then you're gonna go 1 toe at a time from the pinky toe side to the big toe. If you can do this the other way, big toe, then to the pinky toe, I'm very impressed and I would like you to send me a message and I wanna see that video later because it's like very challenging. So again, you can do this with the help of your hand and until you can do it by itself. And you can see, because I always demonstrate with my right foot. This is my right foot, I'm mirroring you guys, but it looks opposite to you. I'm always doing it with this side, so I'm much better at this leg than at this leg. So you can, I can commiserate with you on this other side. Let's do the other side now. Let's do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Now, we're gonna do spread and squeeze. Pretty much the muscles in our hands are like the muscles in our feet. So almost whatever we can do with our hands, we should be able to do with our feet, but it's just that we just don't have the same amount of coordination or agility because we don't practice that, right? We don't have to be as dexterous with our hands. So what we're gonna do is spread and squeeze our toes. Spread them apart, then squeeze them together so that your toes look like this. Spread, then squeeze. Spread, then squeeze. Again, if this is challenging for you to do, you can put something in between your toes and then use that thing in between your toes as some feedback of which direction should my toes go. Can you squish your fingers in between your toes? Let's do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Now, you guys doing okay? Whew. Let's grab some water. Okay, so now what's next is arches. So all of those were muscles that contribute to the movement of your feet and help make your foot that nice supportive trampoline, but this is very directed at that. We have some muscles that control the arch of our foot that live in our calf. And we have other muscles that control the arch of our foot that live in just the foot itself. So in this next exercise, we're going to work on the muscles that live in just the foot itself. You're going to want to do one foot at a time. I call this short dome. We're going to do short dome and long dome, and this is short dome. Let me plug in my computer real quick. Okay. So keeping your toes flat on the ground, you're going to lift the arch of your foot. Now, if your toes scrunched up like this, that means that you're using the muscles that live in your calf more than the muscles that live right in your foot. And we want to isolate the ones that live right in your foot because you're probably already overusing the ones that live in your calf. So it's like a reach and dome, reach and dome. We're building this little arch space here, the muscles that live in that arch. Good, so this is short dome, like I said. Now we're gonna do, oh, well, let me just point out, when you're in short dome, you should still be able to pick up your toes because the toes aren't scrunching to the ground. We're just picking up here. Your toes should be still loose, able to wave. Now long dome, it starts with a short dome and continues. The ball of the foot is not on the ground anymore, but the toes are not bent and scrunched, rather they're long. So short dome, long dome, short dome, long dome. Imagine that you're petting a sleeping cat. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. All right, time for the other side. And again, I can commiserate with you because this is my side that's weaker. So if you're feeling challenged or frustrated by this, you can see that someone, namely me, who does this all the time, also finds this challenging, but between my right and my left, you can see that progress can be made. So we're doing short dome only right now. Your toes should still be able to pick up when you make that short dome. If you want hand assistance with this, you can shape your foot in that shape and then let go and see if you're able to maintain it. All right, let's do 3 more short domes. And now long dome. Like you're petting that sleeping cat. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. My short dome was also my long dome. Okay, all right. So that ends my my foot workout. I don't expect any of you guys to dedicate 30 minutes of your life to foot workout. We have a lot of other things going on. But I would say that if you can either pick the ones that are most challenging for you and do those ones, or just cycle through and say, I'm going to do 1 foot exercise a day. I think that's reasonable, and you can pick from one exercise to another. And in this in this like germophobic state of mind I'm in, I am now going to go hand sanitize my hands. I will be right back. You can do the same if you need it. All right. Time to answer questions. Melissa, I don't know if you were looking at it, but if there's one that you want me to go straight to and make sure that I get to, let me know. But I'm just going to start at the top. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Um,
we're right under, I think it starts right after Shanzetta says that she's from Chicago. It's
okay.
Chandra's the first one there.
Okay. Chandra, I have ankle issues and mobility issues because of fibro. I think you're abbreviating fibromyalgia. How do I protect them? That's a really good question that I think could be applicable to anybody who has, because I'm going to give you like piece of information that's good for everybody. Everything that we just did right now, unless there was a sharp pain with it, is great for everybody. You know, so don't do the ones that was like there's like a sharp pain or it's uncomfortable. But if you did those exercises and they were relatively comfortable, other than the frustrating part of it being sometimes challenging, and there was no sharp pain and there was no numbness in your foot, then I think that you should be good to go. I never know who's going to be attending these classes. So I'm always giving like the best, like the thing that I feel like of all the people that I've seen over all these years, these tend to work. And I narrow it down to just like the most important stuff. So we hit the foot this time. We didn't go specifically to the ankle, but of course, whatever affects your foot also affects your ankle. The more mobile your foot is, the less strain you have on your ankle and the muscles that control your ankle. All right. Now, I hope I answered that question. If not, just write one at the bottom and I'll get back to you. Karen, barefoot for high arches. Should you wear inserts for metatarsalgia? Good question also. So if we use our feet a ton, or if we're genetically disposed, or as we age, the nerves at the bottom of our feet can become more exposed, right? We have fat at the bottom of our foot. Just picture like a baby and their cute little chubby feet. And as we get older, we have less and less of that cute chubby foot look, right? Because that fat in our foot goes away, which then exposes the nerves. Should you do anything to protect those nerves? Yes. I don't know what kind of other procedures exist where you can inject fat into your feet to kind of have an internal, I don't know. I just made that up. I don't know if that actually exists. But short of that, you're going to have to just put padding at the bottom of your foot. Kind of like if you had an exposed wire or exposed cut, you know, you want to just cover it because there it is, a nerve that's close to the surface. You don't want to pound it out. It's not going to go away the more you expose it. You know, sometimes people think no pain, no gain. It's not one of those things. Like it's not going to get better if you expose it more. That being said, if you're the kind of like think in your life about people that you hear running. Some people run hard landing and some people run short landing. I'll give you an example right now of me, and I'll try not to hurt myself doing it. You can jump and land soft. Whoops, that was a chair. You can jump and land soft and quietly, like a parachute, or you can land hard, right? If you're a hard lander, that's going to be more oomph on your nerves. So you want to absorb whatever you're putting into your foot with the rest of your body, almost like you're always walking around with like a harness attached to you. So should you go barefoot if you have high arches? That is something that could go both ways. So my advice would be to see what's working for you. Try a week of barefoot around the house all the time and see how you respond. If it's not comfortable, then go with wearing supportive shoes all the time. For the most part, people do well with a little bit of support underneath their arch. That's not always true, but for the most part, a little bit of arch underneath the foot is good. Hopefully I answered your question, Karin. And then next, Ruxana, I hope I said your name correctly. My right knee is turning to one side and I was told it's the way that I walk, which confused me as I only wear flat shoes. What foot exercises can I do to get bone and muscles back in the right position? All right. I'm going to start off by saying that getting a personal analysis of why your knee is turning to one side would be great. There are so many reasons why your knee can turn to one side. And usually, I don't know, Roxana, if your knee is going outward or inward, but I'm guessing inward because that's usually the one that people say that they have an issue with. Like your knee is going like this. But let me know if it's your knees going like that. So
outward.
She says outward?
Yes.
The knee points outward. Oh, maybe you're walking with your whole foot turned out? Well, this is why it would be really awesome to get a one-on-one analysis. But let me answer your question as if it could be any which way, right? Like something that would, no matter what your specific issue is, it would help. What foot exercises can I do to get bone and muscles back in the right position? Okay, so everything that we just did that strengthened your arch can help with alignment of your leg. Because you can imagine if the inside of your foot collapses because it's not strong, the muscles aren't strong, it changes the mechanics of the whole entire leg above it. If your foot and your calf are super tight, you might turn your foot outwards to avoid this motion of your foot because your calf is tight. So instead of having to walk over a stiff foot, you turn it to the side and walk over the inside of the foot, which might be the reason why your knee is turned out. But knee turning out can be not only an issue with your foot, but also like a hip thing. So, I think a personal analysis of exactly what's contributing to that would be great. I hope I answered your question to the best of my ability for this talk without looking at you walking. Roxana, Yasmin, I've been rolling my feet on a ball, hard rubber, tennis ball is too soft and squishy to help with knee pain. It seems to help, but I need to spend a lot of time rolling them to get the benefits. Do you recommend a complementary exercise or maybe change in how I use the ball? So Yasmin, I don't know if you were here when I was talking about the Franklin ball and how I said I like a softer squishy ball more than a hard ball. And so since it doesn't seem to be making a lot of benefit for you right now, what you're doing, it makes a benefit, but it takes a long time. Try something a little bit squishier and see if that helps. You said the tennis ball is too soft and squishy. And maybe, I don't know your situation, but maybe you just tried it and realized that the hard ball, you felt a lot. So then you're like, okay, this is working. And the soft ball, you didn't feel a lot. So then you thought this is not working. But since you're already putting a lot of work into it, having to roll it out a ton of time, and you're not totally satisfied with that, I would suggest trying a week of a softer squishy ball with intention of not jostling the bones, but rather spreading them out to give that a try. But to answer your actual question, because I think you have something going on already that you think might be working, which is the harder rubber ball, do I recommend a complementary exercise or maybe a change in how I use the ball? So I talked about the change in how I use the ball. The complementary exercises are the foot strengthening exercises that we talked about right now. But to go to what we talked about before, the whole leg is the upper part of your leg affects the lower part of your leg. Lower part of your leg affects the upper part of your leg. So why is your foot getting so tight and tired? Is it because your glutes aren't strong? And so instead of pushing forward by using your glutes, you're really pushing forward using your feet? Or are your feet having to do extra work because your ankle doesn't move a ton? And if so, maybe stretching your calves would help. So if you have one foot that is more painful than the other, you can compare the two and say, okay, Is one calf tighter than the other, and the calf that's tighter is the foot that's painful, then maybe a calf stretching exercise would be good for that side that the foot is painful. As far as glute strengthening, it's nice to get, you know, evaluated by somebody to see which glute is, you know, maybe your glutes need some work. Well, I have a lot of questions left, but hopefully this makes sense to you. Imagine you're lying on your back and you lift your hips up, right? Now do that with just one leg. And now you're doing what I would call single leg bridging. And you can test if your glute feels like it's working when you're doing that exercise, and compare how many you can do on one side to the other. If you find that the foot that's painful also has the glute that's weaker, then maybe working with your foot, working on your glute strength will help your foot. Oh, that was a lot. Mouthful. Okay.
I just to let everybody know, I put a link to the Franklin balls in the chat, so you can scroll through and pull that up just so you have it on hand.
Thank you, Mel. Okay, Ruby, recently my right foot big toe is not flat with the other toes, but seems to lean onto the toe next to it. And also notice this happened with the sciatica. Any exercises for this, please? Well, this is a little bit tricky because is the toe going in because of the sciatica, or is it going in because that's the way that your foot is shaped, and then because your foot is shaped like that, it's causing sciatica? So this is a chicken or the egg thing. I think what you're describing is a bunion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like when, actually I have a bunion a little bit. It's when your toe goes inward towards the other toe and creates a bump. Now, let's see, what's the question? Any exercises for this, please? Okay, so I would see someone to help you with the sciatica first, because that is something that can like linger and potentially get worse, and you want to address the sciatica. And when you address the sciatica, it might make it so that you walk in a better way, kind of like when I was just answering Yasmin. If you have sciatica, those are nerves that are affecting the muscles in your leg. And if those nerves are kind of quiet or irritated, it makes it so that you can't fire your glutes as well. If you can't fire your glutes as well, then that might cause that turning in sensation, that turning in situation of your toe. For bunions themselves, I suggest that spread and squeeze exercise that I did with the toes, and there are contraptions that you can use to put in between your big toe and your other toes. My only hesitation with that is that sometimes if your bunion is super strong, that thing in between the toes ends up not fixing the bunion, but just pushing all the other toes over. So, you know, just like one visit with a physical therapist, or someone that you trust that knows bodies well, whether it's your massage therapist, personal trainer, or chiropractor, that can help you consult with that would be awesome. I hope I answered that question. Is the ball hard or soft? Franklin ball, what are your thoughts on Graston tools for the technique? Arch keeps cramping. Okay. Arch keeps cramping probably as we were doing those exercises, is what somebody was saying. But yes, arch is cramping because maybe you spend a lot of time in shoes, or your feet are stiff and your muscles are like, what are you doing? It's like lifting a heavy weight for the first time. Trust me, it'll get better as you keep going. Graston tools. Yes, I think Graston tools are great. It's the same as what I was doing with my thumb, except funny, Graston tools cost a whole lot of money. So if you're using real Graston tools, or if you have that, like don't go out and buy those $1,000 tools. Um, but if you have them already, awesome. If you don't have them, then you can use your thumb or a spoon gently on the bottom of your foot. Struggling with stiff toes. My toes are so stiff, nothing is happening. I promise, like, just like anything, this is probably something you've never done before, right? So give it a try. Like I recently during this pandemic picked up playing the steel drum. So random. I'm not a musician at all. It was really awkward and tough, but I'm currently working on the tide is high. So we're doing okay. Work on them for a week and you'll see some change. Left foot cramps. So anything related to the cramping is probably like, you haven't used these muscles before, right? My toes are starting to curl all the time. Is there something you can do for that? Yeah. So Karin, I mean, I happen to know you and I know you exercise a ton, so I don't know what else you do, but like I often find that athletes who curl their toes a ton do it because their glutes aren't firing when they're supposed to. I don't know if that's your case, and I imagine that you know your body pretty well to know that you should use your glutes, but even the highest level, like say gymnasts, they work with a lot of gymnasts, the ones that their glutes are just like squeezing their legs together, but not pushing their body forward. Those are the ones that toes are kind of like clawed like and cramping or like curling. All right, so we unfortunately are running low on time. I want to respect everybody's time, and we're supposed to be done 5 minutes ago. Insole suggestions, like I would, people try super feet and like them, and those are easy off the counter. I would definitely try using tape or super feet before going and getting $300 orthotics from somebody first to see if that helps. Yeah, so I think I pretty much answered everything as well as I could for this big group, and trying to be as like kind of generic as possible with my suggestions. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Mel knows how to reach me. My
Yeah, and I just
you'll
want to
get my
put out there that when we send the thank you email, it will have Alyssa's information on it, and definitely follow if you need further support or trying to get a hold of her. One thing I do want to point out is when you sign up for events, this is tricky. Eventbrite will say, would you like to sign up for marketing? Well, what happens with that is you don't receive the thank yous or the aftercare information from Banyan. So you want to make sure that you sign up. You can also email me directly, melissa@banyanwomen.org, if you need further support connecting. And then please make sure to check out all the February events. I do want to point out that Friday, Alyssa starts a month-long mat Pilates series, which also is really good for your glutes and your feet and your legs and everything else. Just putting that out there. So please look at the event, see if you can sign up. And Alyssa, thank you so much. Like,
yeah.
I ran into the other room where my wife is watching you, and I was like, my feet feel so good.
I
So,
also put my email address because somebody said they don't have Instagram, so you can you can
perfect.
email me. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining me in the middle of your day. Have a good rest of your lunch. Bye.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mel and Banyan Tree Women's
Guys,
Collective.
absolutely. Thank you so much for taking time for yourselves today. Happy foot care for the rest of the week, and we'd love to hear how it goes. Commit to it for the week. Let us know. Give us feedback. We're here to support you. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.